All right, guys, so now that we reviewed some of this stuff, I want you guys to show me how we do an open circuit battery test on this battery that we have in the back room. Because you got to remember, you're probably going to ask, well, if it's a brand new battery, Wortman, why do we need to test it before we put it in the car?
How long was it sitting on the shelf before we grabbed it?
You got it, you got it. That's a good example right there. How long has it been sitting on our shelf in the back room? It could have been there for a year by now. It could have been 6 months, 2 months, 2 days. Plus, you got to think about how long has it been sitting on the shelf at the parts store before we got it. Yeah, there's date codes on them, and we can see the date codes. The group number 781. All right, and it was 2 of 20 was a date code of that battery. So we can kind of guess and figure out how long it's been sitting here. But if that battery doesn't, that sticker's not on there, we're not sure. It's always good to double check no matter what, because this battery's obviously been sitting here for longer than 6 months now. So before we put it in the truck, we want to make sure that it's a fully charged battery, because if we put a battery in this truck over here and it is a little weak or it's not at 100% charged, that's going to put strain on the charging system, because now we're going to put it in, start it up, and the alternator is going to have to try and catch that up. And an alternator in a car is really not, its purpose isn't really to charge a battery. Its purpose is to maintain proper voltage for the vehicle to operate. It's not designed to charge a dead battery. So we want to check this out. So Hunter, you want to show me how to set this up and do an open circuit test here?
So we have to put it on DC volts first.
Okay, so DC volts. So get that set up on DC volts for me.
And then we want to put it at the highest, closest voltage to the battery. So that would be 20.
Because this is a 12-volt battery, so there's no sense in putting it on 200. And if we put it lower than 20, it's not going to read, right?
Yeah.
All right, so then what do we do?
Then we put the testers on the terminals.
Which terminals go where?
Red on positive and black on negative.
You got it. You got it. How can you tell on a battery if it's positive or negative?
The plus sign or the
you got it. Perfect.
Minus sign. And
all right. So we have our adapters in here since this is a side post. All right, it's always good to put the charging adapters in there. Yeah, you could go right in there without the adapters, but we were just assuming right off the bat we're probably going to have to charge this battery, so we went ahead and put charging adapters in it. We got 12.41. So when we look at our open circuit battery voltage state of charge chart here, what do you guys see there?
75%.
All right, so it's 12.4, we're about 75%. All right, so yeah, we could probably put this in there and be okay. All right, but since we already have it out and it's sitting here and we're in no rush to get this in right this second, it'd be a good idea to put a charger on this, right? Put a little slow charge. All right, guys, good job. What are we going to do here? We realize we need to charge this new battery before we put it in the car, because we had 12.4 volts on the open circuit battery voltage test, so about 75%. Like I said, it's not bad, but we got it on the bench. Let's go ahead and top it off so we don't overwork that charging system. We're going to use the GR8, right?
Yep.
So what are we going to do? Walk me through getting this set up here. We got to get our cables hooked up, right? So make sure we hook those up correctly. Which one do we hook up first?
Negative.
We don't hook negative up first.
Positive.
We hook positive up first. Exactly. Good job. So we'll get the positive hooked up. How can we tell which one's positive? Good job. And then we're going to hook the negative up, right? We have our charging post in here because it is a side post battery. Now what are we going to do here now?
Turn it on.
Go ahead and turn it on for me. Good job. All right, we're going to let it warm up and do its thing. All right, so it's asking us a question here. We need to pick the language. So let's go ahead and next. We want English. It's going to run through its checks. All right. We want to do a manual charge, so we're going to scroll through until we find manual. Keep going until you find it. We could even do a new battery test on this too and check this battery, but we're gonna start with a charge, okay? Go to the manual. Perfect.
Vehicle, so next.
It's out of vehicle, correct. It is not an absorbed glass mat. It is a flooded lead acid battery, so regular. Hit next. We want to limit current on this so we don't overheat this and ruin the new battery. We're going to hit next. We need to figure out what amperage, right? So we're looking here and we can see our cold cranking amps are 700. So let's do the math and figure out what we need to set it at.
700 divided by 10 is 70.
So 700 divided by
70 is 10.
by 70. So you take the cold cranking amps, divide it by 70. All right, and that's going to come out to 10. That's the ideal charge rate. All right, so we have this set at 10. So go ahead and continue on there. And we're going to put this on about a 30-minute charge. Since it's not very discharged, we just want to put it on a 30-minute charge. And what we'll do at that point, we will come back and we'll check it. All right, we can use our voltmeter to check it, or this machine has a voltmeter built right into it where it'll read it. All right, so go ahead and hit 30 minutes. Next.
I'll check the time real quick.
Okay. Notice I have this sitting on the wood workbench. I try to refrain from setting batteries for an extended period of time on the steel bench or concrete or anything like that. The wood bench is a little safer because it's an insulator, not a conductor, right? And also, you know, have you ever heard of the old saying that you leave a battery sit on a concrete floor or a conductive surface like a old metal workbench that it could discharge it? That can happen. So we always try to leave when we're charging a battery out of the vehicle. I always recommend to try and put it on the wood workbench we have here, or you'll notice under all of our workbenches here, there's usually a piece of wood underneath there, 2x4s, or things like that we use for various things. So I try to set it on a block of wood. If you have to set it on the concrete floor, I always set it on a piece of wood underneath it or something. All right. So now this is going. It's charging. Got everything set. Limiting current to 10 amps. 12.98 volts. We're rocking and rolling. So we're going to let this go, and we'll come back and check on this periodically. All right. Thanks, guys. Workman out.